Welcome, everybody. This is a special edition of my old show, the Squared Circle Cafe, the show for wrestling fans by wrestling fans. I am your hostess. You used to know me as Daria, but I am going back to my name, which is Gladys. And actually, there's a different name, but we'll get to that later. I'd like to introduce my special guest right now. He is the vice president of the Juggalo Wrestling Order through
What's up?
AWL. This is Rob Roberts, everybody.
Hey, thank you for having
Okay.
me on your show. About time, too.
Yes, it is about time. I will admit that it has been a long time coming. I've seen your career on Facebook and I've seen your videos on YouTube. You've had quite the extensive career. So let's start from the beginning. What made you become a pro wrestling fan?
Oh, a fan? Well, actually, it started probably 1982, maybe when. Granted, yes, I was a big Hulk Hogan fan, huge Hogan mark. I was a Hulkamaniac, and I used to watch all the old shows, all the old TV shows when they were syndicated on TV. And used to remember back and forth. They used to split between WWF back in the day, uh, Georgia Championship Wrestling, and all that back in before cable even was a thing. So I became a wrestling fan when I was maybe like probably five, maybe. So yeah, I've been a wrestling fan ever since I was a little shit.
Do you remember the moment that made you decide you wanted to do this? You wanted to pursue becoming a pro wrestler?
Actually, yeah, sitting there watching a live event back when I graduated high school in '95. I was dating a girl, and she brought me to a local independent wrestling company. It's called Yankee Pro Wrestling, which is now Top Rope Wrestling, Top Rope Promotions. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows who Top Rope is.
Yep.
And yes, I was involved with both. So I was just sitting there. I was like, oh, cool. This is interesting. I think I can do this. So that night, the local promoter, which happened to be Joe Eugenio, he came up to me and asked me if I've ever wanted to become a professional wrestler. I'm like, yeah, I've always wanted to try it. You know, I've always been interested. I was also a martial artist. I did judo also. That's originated from Greco-Roman wrestling. I did judo first, then I did pro wrestling afterwards. Long story short, he came up to me. I said yes. We he picked me up 2 days after, brought me to New Bedford, Massachusetts, where their original training facility was down there, where all the fishing boats come in and all the restaurants around New England probably get all their food and all that, all their seafood. So that's where the original training facility is down near the Bluffs in New Bedford.
All right. So, how did it feel when you took that first bump?
Oh my God. Like I said before, I was a martial artist, so it was kind of natural for me, but in another sense, it was not natural for me. The hitting that mat, it was it's different from hitting a judo mat, even though the mats are like this thick. But hitting a wrestling ring, some of it, granted, you got the flexi boards. Back in the day, they had springs, and when I started, they had the spring loaded wrestling ring. So that was kind of a little bit bouncy, which is cool. But then when they uh, switched over to the flexi beams, the flexible beams, that was a different story. That's more stiffer.
All right. So, you're training and you're getting all the work in.
Yep.
Then it's decided
Get my
you
ass
make.
handed to me many of times. Trust me, I got my ass handed to me.
All right. Do you remember your very first match that you had?
Actually, yes. I was at the PAL Hall in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Fall River, Mass. Sorry. There's no PAL Hall out here in Woonsocket. That's where I live now. But there was a PAL Hall, Fall River, Massachusetts, and it was against Big Daddy Kahuna,
All right. So
which is Mike Bravo nowadays.
so after that very first match, did that really bite? Did that really set
Yeah,
you on
it
a path?
actually lit the fire underneath my butt. Literally. And I was like, shit, this is fucking fun. Oh, am I allowed to swear?
It's fine.
All right, good, because I'm a very colorful person.
All right. So do you remember what your very first name was, or
It
have you
was
always
originally
been?
Rob Roberts. It's always been Rob Roberts ever since I stepped foot in the ring. I've had this character for over 29 years now.
How many
I've had the
companies?
I've had the Rob Roberts character ever since I stepped foot in the ring.
So how many companies would you say you've worked for over the past couple of decades?
Let's say, like I mentioned, Yankee Pro Wrestling. Then they switched to South Coast Championship Wrestling. Then they switched to their name now is Top Rope Wrestling. Then I did a couple of stints here and there for other companies up in Connecticut, um, Maine, uh, borderline to Maine and New Hampshire. I think Vermont, I believe, Connecticut, obviously, and all around, mostly all New England. Some of the companies are not around anymore. Sorry, I don't remember their names. Too many chair shots to the head.
All right. So as I was doing my research before this interview, I came across some clips from a promotion called Showcase Pro Wrestling, and I
Yes,
noticed you
I've
were wearing
also
a.
wrestled. Yes, I also wrestled for Showcase Pro Wrestling too.
Now I noticed that the first couple of matches I found, you were wearing a JWO vest. Can you explain
What, the
what that
trash man
character
gimmick?
was? What was that?
Well, it was okay. The whole situation with the whole trash man thing. Me and an original partner of mine, which I don't really want to mention his name, but we were called Men at Work. I was Rob the Trash Man Roberts, and he was blank the Trash Man. And we were a tag team. We wrestled. Um, we trained together in Showcase. We actually wrestled for House of Bricks, which is my Brick House Bakers company. We actually wrestled, and this is going to blow your mind. We actually wrestled in front of Demolition.
Axe and
Yes,
Smash?
yes, the original Demolition, Axe and Smash, and they were just sitting there. They showed up. I guess they did a prior show, but something fell through with that whole situation. So they came to House of Bricks just as a surprise guest. We didn't know who these guys were. The surprise, they didn't tell us. So here comes these two guys. I was like, wait a minute, that's Axe and Smash from fucking Demolition. I'm like, dude, they're legit, like, should be fucking Hall of Famers for WWE. I think they should be. They should be up there with the top tag teams that they had back in the 80s. And, I liked them. They were really cool. And I was just like, when we wrestled in front of them, and then the match was over, the whole show was winding down. And I think we were the main event that night, too, I believe. Don't quote me on it. But it was just so cool. As they came back into the dressing room, they made a beeline, meaning they totally came up to us, to me and my partner, and said, that was the best tag team match we've ever seen.
Wow. To
So
have that kind of
to have
validation.
that underneath your belt, to say Action Smash, former tag team champions, mind you, in WWE, well, WWF at the time, but now it's WWE, to have them come up to you and say that was the best match they ever seen. It's like, oh my God. I was like a little kid. I'm sorry. I'm like, thank you. I used to watch you on TV when I was little. Like,
Leave it to being
seriously.
legends, make
I
you
was
feel
like
like you're
maybe
12
in
years
my
old.
teen years. It was cool.
It must have been. I
It
mean,
was.
to have that was amazing, and I'm really happy that that happened for you. Now, I did even more research.
Oh
I
God, here we
went
go.
well. I saw some more things. Who is Buckshot?
It was like, okay, Buckshot Rob Roberts, me and Buck Nasty, my former tag team partner, we were called Southern Discomfort. Except for Southern Comfort, but Southern Discomfort, because we were just a bunch of redneck hillbilly guys that I was the mayor of Deliverance, Alabama. And we were actually a legit nasty ass tag team. We were fucking physical.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I suffered an injury. I blew out my ACL and my MCL in my right knee
Ooh.
during a tag team match me and my partner Buck Nasty had. So I was on the shelf for a little while, rehabbing my knee and all that crap.
Okay. Obviously, injuries in wrestling suck. How long were you out
Yeah.
for?
Probably 6 weeks to a month. Because I'm an older person. Injuries prone to happen. You know, unfortunately, you heal slowly once you get older. You're not a young physical kid anymore. Like, oh yeah, I can do this. Let's do that. No, it takes some time to heal up when you get a certain age. Unfortunately.
All right. So, I mean, so when you made your comeback, were you
Yep.
still were you still Buckshot, or did you go back to Trash Man? Like,
No,
when you
actually,
came
I
back?
did a little bit. I did a little bit of referee work actually,
Okay, what was it?
because I
Did
was
you
still
enjoy doing it?
and yes, this was part of Showcase Pro Wrestling when I was refereeing too.
Okay, did you what was it like being what would you say your time as a referee? How was that like?
Actually, it was very fun. I'm not that bad of a referee. I studied from the best from WWF. I actually studied referees, and I had a determined, yeah, I kind of was like kind of down and out. I was like, I miss the physical aspect of wrestling. I miss getting in there, locking up with somebody, and slamming them around. Dropping an elbow or dropping a leg drop on their ass. And I was getting kind of bored with the whole referee shit.
All
But
right,
yeah,
because
it was fun.
all right. So like I said, I've been digging around and I was looking for stuff, but for some reason I couldn't find. Every time I kept typing your name in, something else kept popping up. This clown character kept coming up, and
You mean this? You mean Mr. Pickles?
who is Mr. Pickles?
He's me, honey.
Okay, explain. Where did Mr. Pickles come from?
Okay, and here we go.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. He was originally, mind you, I also done haunted house work since I was 16 years old. The
Oh,
haunted house, like to scare shit
yes.
people. All right. He was a developmental character, persona, person, mind you, person. I call him a person because he is me and I am human. He's a whole. So throughout the years, I was, kind of wanting to bring him into the professional wrestling aspect of it. So throughout the years, I worked at multiple. I worked at the PAL Haunted House. Yes, the PAL's same place where I started my career, and the same place today where Top Rope actually trains out of. That's the one in Fall River. So they had a haunted house there too. So it was all volunteer. It was from 16 to probably 30, right? I was young, 16, so I was put with the younger generation kids. So throughout the years, I built myself up. I did. I worked there until they closed the haunted house, probably early 90s, I would say. Then I worked at Terror on South Main Street. Then I worked at Dr. Terror's Fright Factory, which is now the Factory of Terror in Fall River. All right, from the Factory Terror, I also worked at the Asylum of Horror. The Asylum of Horror was also another haunted house. That's where the clown was born.
Really?
Yes, the Asylum of Horror. The Asylum of Horror, I was the very first clown there. They threw the clown suit at me. They said, Rob, we all know that you're a professional wrestler. They said, we think that you can make this work. So I put on the suit. It was all polka dots, mind you. Green, yellow, purple, red, all the rainbow colors from the flag. So it was that color, and the sleeves were green. The collar was purple, I believe, and the other sleeve was red. And it was multicolored. It was really cool. So they threw on the face paint, and instantly I knew something was going on. I knew it was something that I kind of was like, hey, wait a minute. This is really cool. This is actually working for me. This is actually something that I can actually maybe tweak a little, maybe bring it into a wrestling company if they would have it. I'm just saying, I never know. I didn't have the money or the resources at the time because, I was a young guy. I had kids. I had children when I was young in my 20s. So I had a kind of a family. I was still wrestling at the time too. So I was back and forth everywhere. So that's how Mr. Pickles came about. But other than that, when I left the asylum, they closed down, whatever. I didn't do haunted house work for like probably 10 to 15 years. So I got back into it through 13th World out here in Cumberland, Rhode Island. They're up at Diamond Hill, the Diamond Hill State Park. So I got into them. I was like, listen, I used to be a former haunted house worker. I worked at here, and here. And I also do a clown. It's like, what? You do a clown? I'm like, yeah. Oh, we have a group of people that actually do clowns. It's like, I would like to try and, be one of the clowns. I was one of their top scarers. I actually have a DVD at home where I live now. It's called 13th Road. I'm all over that DVD. You know those top playing cards?
Yes.
I'm on one of them as the clown.
Nice.
Yeah.
Use that on dating services?
No, and remember when the Patriots are going for the Super Bowl a couple of years ago? Their first, I think it was their second time.
Okay, yes.
Actually, 4 of the New England Patriots players actually came into the haunted house. We closed down just for them.
Did you scare them?
Yeah, they didn't like us too much. Tom Brady, mind you, chickened out last minute
Oh,
because he
really?
didn't. He heard there was clowns there, and he didn't like clowns.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first.
Yeah, Tom Brady didn't want to go because he didn't like the clowns or haunted houses at all. He gets scared of them somehow. I guess it's some sort of childhood thing.
Well, clown. Well, it is an actual phobia. It's like one of
Yeah,
the
I
top
know.
10 phobias of the world.
Yeah, I
So,
know. Good. Let it stay there.
well, maybe someday in the future I'll have Pickles on the show and interview the guy.
Well, he doesn't really talk too much to people.
We'll see. Maybe he'll talk to me.
Maybe we'll say he hardly ever does hardly ever does any interviews. I'm the mouthpiece for Pickles.
So, what was Mr. Pickles' first match?
It was against um Big Dog Butler. He's a really good kid, friend of mine. Well, this guy's enormous. He's like probably he's 6'10", probably like 350 at the time. And me being 5'9", no heavier than maybe 230 pounds. And this guy tossed me around like a rag doll.
Wow.
But yeah, I kept on coming at it. I was like, I don't. It's a different type of character to play a clown.
Well, clowns are very popular in pro wrestling. We all know the most famous clown of all being Doink.
Yep,
So it,
absolutely, Matt Bourne.
yep. So it's not uncommon to see a wild
No,
character like that. But speaking of wild characters and different ideas, I came across something that I thought was very fascinating. I came across something and I'd like to explain what it is. What is the Juggalo Wrestling Order?
all right, the JWO. How me and the president, TJ Tucker, my boy, my tag team partner, explain it. We're a bunch of outcast wrestlers that nobody really wanted to. I gotta call her back because I'm doing something. This is my daughter. Don't mind it. Like I was saying, we're a bunch of outcast wrestlers that weren't. We're not your ordinary type of wrestlers. We're those kids that are like, oh, look at him. Why is he dressed like that? What's up with the black clothing? What's up with all the ICP stuff? I'm like, yes, I am a juggalo. I am proud to hold my hatchet on my arm.
Whoop,
I
whoop.
also, yeah, whoop whoop. I I also have a Hatchet Man hat. I also have a hoodie, and it's been something that was developing through the Asylum of Horror. Now, the original group was called the Wicked Clowns. We're a bunch of misfit, crazy kids that just ran amok all over the Asylum of Horror. We had a ball. And the original leader was me.
Really?
TJ was my vice president at the time. We were boys. So I faded out. I just like it was over and done with. We had a run, we had a ball. But throughout the years, it built it up to what it is today, which is the Juggalo Wrestling Order. We have we have a lot of good crew members now, which we've had horrible crew members that you know you know, but now our crew is solid, finally solid.
It sounds good. I mean, I would know considering that I am a
Yes. Okay.
prospect.
Let's. Yes, you are. You are our one of our prospects of the Juggalo Wrestling Order. You are a prospect. So is it my two partners, Nina Beretta and Piper. They're also our prospects.
Yep. Which is one of the reasons why I brought this show
we have
back.
we have actually 3 girls now in the JWO. We've never had women. All guys. Never had women in our company. And yes, I will call Nina. I will call my partners, even though they're drag queens. And yes, we are in a polyamorous and pansexual relationship. Yes, I am dating them. I am very proud to be a pansexual person and polyamorous. We hang out together. We go to drag shows because they are drag performers. We go to the Dark Lady. We go to Alchemy. We go to the Mirror Bar. They perform. I do not perform. I am a physical, what a friend of ours called it, it's called violent drag because it's a physical thing. Wrestling is almost like watching a drag show. I'm just saying.
No, it is. It is. You see people dressed up in fancy outfits, going out to perform. I'd say it's drag.
Yeah, but a lot of people, I know it's not. It kind of is. It is. It
Yeah.
kind of is. It's just very physical and violent.
Exactly.
You know? Other drag is not. Well, it all depends on who you talk to.
So now that we're on here and we've put that out there, I think there's something we need to say to a certain somebody.
We have to talk about the elephant in the room.
We unfortunately have to, considering that the AWL is part of it.
Yeah, I know. Why do we have to talk about the whole elephant in the room? I don't like doing it, but okay, we can shoot, as you say.
Considering that as a member of Prospect of JWO, we cut our first promo 2 weeks ago.
Yes, we did.
Last week, I should say.
Yeah, a couple outside of Cava Wrestling, actually.
Mm-hmm. And it has gotten some attention. On Versace's channel, it's gotten already 220 views.
Already 220 views?
Yes, sir.
Holy crap.
Almost 100 on my channel.
That's good. Good. See,
the word is getting out there, so people are paying attention.
Yeah, well, yeah. Unfortunately, we had to deal with stupid ass motherfucking people. Particularly one person. And this one person you actually fucking know.
Yes, we do. And I should let you know that right now, unfortunately, we're on a 10-minute warning.
That's okay. But if you want to prospect, you can explain everything.
It has come to our attention that a certain promoter has called out.
Actually.
Yes. Certain booker has called out the AWL because we wanted our tag team titles back. And on a day we were supposed to have a show, all of a sudden, all of our talent didn't show up because apparently everyone was under a contract for a museum. And it's not an actual museum. It was just something to use as leverage so no one could show up, which was unfair to the people who ran AWL, particularly to the guy right there, Rob Roberts. So therefore, we had to crown new tag team champions. We had to crown a new Patriot Express 24/7 champion. You want to tell anyone who that is?
Gee, I wonder. That's me. And also Mr. Pickles. You can't forget about him.
No, we can't. And we came to our attention that the tag team titles were not being returned to us.
Yep.
We eventually called them out on it with our little JWO promo, which I will post a link down below.
Yep.
To then we found out that we were called out for our group
Yes.
being called.
Actually, there was only two particular people that were actually called out. It was me and TJ. Were the only two that were called out on their promo. To have him have the balls to call himself a wrestling veteran, how they had this post on their website or whatever. Come get professional wrestling training for over 20 years. What person that I know besides me and our killer have experience out of that whole group? I only know maybe one person, and that's Sergeant Stryker. Stryker is a former United States Army military veteran. He served in Iraq, I believe, out in Afghanistan during that war. So, yes, he admitted, yes, he wrestled. He's had experience, but it was only less than 20 years, I think. See, the most experienced guys that were part of AWL were Dan Bidandi, the Bionic Bull, which is our United States heavyweight champion right now, and Maniac Mike, who is also the owner of AWL, and there's me. We all know, because you've heard, that I've had experienced professional wrestling almost 29, we'll be 30 years next year.
That's quite a long
So
time to be in this business.
all of us got together. They were running out of the chop shop back in the day, Mike and them. I didn't know them prior to that. I kind of heard noise about them, but I never wrestled for them. I've always wanted to. When the chop shop closed down during COVID or whatever happened, you know how that whole everything disbanded, broke down. Nobody could go nowhere, so they just closed down the chop shop. I guess they sold the building or something like that. So he had nowhere else to go. Poor Mikey. So I know we're probably going to go over time, but I really don't care. um, so he came to. He was also training at Showcase Pro Wrestling too. So I guess he sat down with the owner of Showcase Pro Wrestling, explained his predicament. The owner of Showcase Pro Wrestling decided to rent out the ring to Chris. Now, mind you, I wasn't even involved with AWL at the time. I was still involved with Showcase Pro Wrestling. I was in and out, due to injuries or whatever. And then I found out that they're at Showcase, they're renting the ring. So I heard that he was looking for talent for his shows. So I heard it through TJ. He said, "Hey, Rob, you should really come down here. Since you live in Woonsocket, it's not that far. You know where we're at. So just come down, talk to Mikey." I said, "Yeah, I'll check you guys out." So I hit up Mikey privately and say, "Hey, listen, I heard you're looking for wrestling talent. I heard you're looking for guys that actually know how to do things." I explained to him wherever I've been, who I've worked for, and where I worked at. And I guess the promoter of Showcase actually gave a good word for me through Mikey, and Mikey actually hired me on a handshake. No money involved, just a handshake. And I've been part of AWL ever since. Come on now, I'm one half of the former tag team champions with TJ. Speaking of, motherfucker, you ever throw those fucking titles in the trash again, I'm gonna come get you. You pulled off an old Medusa fucking gimmick. That wasn't your idea. That was a ripoff. So if I ever see you on the streets, you're gonna get your ass handed to you because you throw the tag team titles in the trash and said the only reason why they're relevant because they were on your show and around your waist. No, they weren't. They were relevant because of me and TJ, not because you're a fat ass.
Yep, and I've been to an AWL show, and actually, it is a great group to work for, and I'm proud to finally announce I'm getting back into videography and photography. I'm going to start uploading more stuff to my channel, including this interview, as well as other AWL and JWO. My channel is now open for JWO content.
Good. Thank
Proud as
you.
I am to be a part of that group, and I will earn my stripes as a prospect.
Good. We expect nothing less.
Exactly. So I'm in it for life. So as I said earlier, whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
All right. Well, Rob, thank you so much for this interview. Thank you for the
Not a problem.
opportunity.
Anytime.
And I will definitely have to reschedule for another interview. I
Oh
definitely
yeah,
want to see
anytime you
and
want. Maybe I can convince Pickles to freaking do something.
so you can get him to pop in.
No,
So
don't worry about that.
all right. Thank you guys, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Square Circle Cafe. Square Circle Cafe for wrestling fans by wrestling fans. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.